In the heart of the Liberties in Dublin lies the Cast Foundry. It is here that Ireland's most famous living sculptor, John Behan, has cast some of his most famous works. John's work is feted in Ireland and abroad. His famine-shaped sculptures can be found in Mayo and at the United Nations headquarters in New York.
Good. Yeah. Thank you. Good as new. So I'll just take it down now and we'll clean it and do the final waxing. Finishing it. Be good as new.
John Behan has always been fascinated with the character of Leopold Bloom from James Joyce's Ulysses. And through his career he has returned again and again to the idea of creating a public statue of Leopold to be erected in Dublin.
Well, it's ready to go, John. It's just got to be wrapped.
John was one of the founding members of the Cast Foundry, alongside fellow sculptor Leo Higgins, who runs the foundry today. Leo surprised John with a small sculpture of Leopold Bloom that had come in for repair.
Left this in for repair, which we'll be doing this afternoon today.
Yeah.
Just to get your view on whether you think it should be repatinated as well.
I think so, yeah.
So we'll do the repair.
Green patina.
Green patina.
That should do it, yeah.
Very
It's
good.
held up fairly well.
It has.
Despite its fragility. Yeah.
No, that's no problem. We'll do that. In fact, no, it's already welded. We've done it.
You've done the
just
weld,
needs,
yeah.
It's just the colour, yeah.
Just colour, yeah. I know, it needs a bit
We'll
of
do a nice green
freshening, yeah.
green patination, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the 70s, you know, it looks like the 70s to me. And it was Mr. Bloom and his bat, you know, the fantasy scene in Lincoln Place where they had the Turkish bats years ago. And I just got bits of copper and bits of steel, and there's a bit of Sif bronze here. The lumpy bits there, they're Sif bronze, you know. Yeah. Put it together. And now it needs a bit of a patination.
Yeah, it just needs a bit of attention.
Just to liven it up again, sweeten it, you know.
Fantastic.
It will be fine.
Yeah. I know it's a very important one because it was
the beginning
of the whole,
Yeah.
and which ties in now with the show you have on in Kenny's at the moment, which is the Jewish thing and Bloom
absolutely,
and that. So
it's all part of that.
So it's all part of that cycle of work,
yeah.
So it's a very important piece. Yeah.
That's
great, John.
It.
Very good.
Right, so that'll be done this afternoon.
As part of the Bloomsday celebration at the Duke Street Gallery, John presented his idea for a sculpture of Leopold against the backdrop of Aidan Hickey's exhibition of 9 chapters from Ulysses.
I just want to talk about statuary in Dublin and how we've come so far behind in the 20th century in comparison to the 19th century, when all of the art in the British Isles of the foremost position was made virtually by Irish artists, including Foley and Brock and a whole load of other people. As a result, I had a conversation with a person from Carlow who was virtually solely responsible for the magnificent gallery they have there in terms of his contribution to making that space available through the land. And he was saying to me, I've been through Dublin recently and one thing struck me very forcibly, and that is that there is very little modern sculpture in Dublin. And that brings us along to, again, to Joyce, and in this case, to Duke Street, where Joyce enjoyed the liquid favours of Davey Byrnes' Moral Pub and various other places, including Burton's eating house. Now, I don't know if this is the building.
Next door.
It's next door. That's where the less Dragonian scene in Ulysses takes place. So we're talking about historic substance here, and literary substance of the most renowned international sort. Now, I had a proposal from Shay, and we both agreed on this, that there should be something of significance in terms of Joyce's creative ability, not just mere portraits and that kind of thing, but an interpretation, as something exhibitedly here by Aidan today demonstrates that there's an endless source of material, as indeed in any classic form, it's endless. Seamus Heaney once said, why are the classics classics? It is because they are classics. And they will filter down through the universe forever, as long as there's people. I just want to illustrate that observation about Bruton's restaurant, and indeed Burton's restaurant, and the idea I have had, and that is in this famous street, based on the Ulyssian idea, a piece of sculpture of Mr. Bloom. This is a very rough sketch. And I have a much more elaborate idea for it, which I've sketched out. And just to give the idea of what it was like in those days, and I'm sure it's very accurate because Joyce was the most accurate writer of all time. It's the scene in Burton's restaurant, Lestrygonians. Men, perched on high stools by the bar, hats shoved back, at the tables calling for more bread, no charge, swilling, wolfing, gobfuls of sloppy food, their eyes bulging, wiping wetted tumbler, knife, fork with a napkin. New set of microbes, a man with an infant's sauce-stained napkin tucked round him, shoveled gurgling soup down his gullet. A man spitting back on his plate, half masticated. No teeth to chew it. Nauseated, Mr. Bloom backs out. Couldn't eat a morsel. Here, I hate dirty eaters. And that was Burton's restaurant. Now, the proposal I have would be roughly based, and having given you some, on this particular idea, this is a mere sketch. It would be a much more elaborate thing because there is an oriental feel to a lot of the work, and I've chosen this piece from the Lotus Eaters in Ulysses, where Mr. Bloom is in his bath in Lincoln Place enjoying himself, and all the flavours and the flowers of the Orient are, and all the scents, and it's a very sensual idea, and it's this. The Lotus Eaters were defined in the chapter by the American writer Stuart Gilbert. The scene was the bath, the hour was 10 a.m, the organs was genitals, art, botany and chemistry, symbol, Eucharist, technic, narcissism. And the Far East, enjoy a bath now, clean throw of water, cool enamel, the gentle tepid stream. This is my body. He foresaw his pale body, reclined in it at full, naked in a womb of warmth, oiled by scented melting soap, softly laved. He saw his trunk and limbs rip, over and sustain, buoyed lightly upwards, lemon yellow, his navel, bud of flesh, and saw the dark tangled curls of his bush, floating, hair of the stream around, the limp father of thousands, a languid floating flower. So that is the basic concept behind this sculpture. Now, I've been told by Pamela, who's the authority on this locale, that half the street has traffic and the other half hasn't. Surely in the half that doesn't have traffic, something, it's my own humble creation, it could be anybody's. I'm not really concerned about ego or anything like that. But surely after a century of neglect, as far as I'm concerned, and the absence of really, apart from Eddie Delaney's big piece in College Green, there has been nothing very serious erected around Dublin for the last more than 100 years. So why don't we start off here? We have people who are really interested. I'm really interested in the project, and I just want to offer it as an artist to the city and to the people. It's most important to involve people, because reality is people. You know, we have to accept that, and we must get them interested. And street sculpture in every other city in Europe has a much more significant role to play. We have to become involved. So I urge everybody to look at the concept and give it serious consideration. So thank you very much for your kind attention.